Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Lineage Break, a Grand Archive TCG podcast. I am your host, Cam. With me, as always, is the glue, Steve.
Hi, Cam.
Hi, Steve.
How
Steve's already breaking the fourth illusion wall and laughing at chat 3 seconds into
I'm sorry,
into shooting the podcast,
but it was good.
Reasonable. No, I got it. For those of you who are not aware, that are not with us live on the internet, we are shooting Lineage Break podcast live to a studio audience, and by a studio audience, I mean the audience on YouTube. But from now on, we will be shooting our podcast live Friday at noon. So if you're watching this in the later times, and it is Friday because I've delayed uploading the podcast for 6 weeks, you can probably catch us live on the YouTube. But we are back today. It's a very special day, Stephen.
Is it a special day?
Well, yeah. What?
Well,
yeah.
Tell me why it's a special day.
It's a special day because today is Alchemical Revolution launch day. Woo! Congratulations to Grand Archive on releasing their third set. It is a banger. Today is also the official launch of Omnidex.
Oh.
So we will be using the official tournament software for the first time ever in our life. Well, not actually true, but everyone around the world will be using Omnidex for the first time ever.
I think I'm a little sad, but I can't be that sad.
Sad about what?
Because my beta,
losing your
my beta Omnidex dumper was so good, and
it's actually real tough. I set like 4 alarms to sign up for Omnidex.
Refreshing the page.
Right. Yeah, and you got what?
I got 333.
Yeah, I got 322, and Steve got 333 at 1 minute after they went live.
601.
You fuckers! There's too many of you. Too many people are playing this game now. How am I supposed to, get my 101 or whatever? My 169, if you will. So we got our Omnidex IDs. We are starting Omnidex today at the store. Also today, there was a new bans and restricted list, sort of. So we have lots of things to talk about, which is great because we've we're so used to having all of the newsy news as we've had for the past 6 episodes or whatever. Just so much stuff to talk about.
Right.
So we're back to talk about some stuff. So we've decided we're going to do things in reverse order, and we're going to start with the newest thing, which is, and shout out to Shinja and Silidar out there on the internet for making us shoot the show live, which is a great idea. That's why we're here. But it means that we can talk about the ban list, which came out as of us recording this on the internet
10 hours ago.
Like 10 hours ago. I was, of course, mid-game on the Rift, killing a Gromp or whatever, and
I woke up out of a deep sleep.
Oh yeah.
Panicking because something in the universe changed, and indeed
something isn't right.
And indeed, it is that we now have a playable level 2 Xander people.
Right.
This is great.
So yeah, let's talk a little bit about that BNR. So we got new Xander, Steven. I know that you're with me.
I am 100% with you. I'm right here.
You got that ban list up to talk about this new Xander?
I do. It's right here. Thank you very much. Oh, look. Hey, it's right here.
Hey, what does that new Xander do?
Hey,
Steven?
this new Xander is Xander Deft Execute. This is why we don't do it live.
Blah, 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 blah. Well, what? We're not going to... blah, blah. We're not going to restart the whole show.
No, I understand. We got 22 health, champion, assassin human, Xander Lineage. On enter. Put 2 preparation counters on Xander, and then you may remove a prep counter from him if you do return an assassin action or an assassin attack card from your graveyard to your hand.
Whoa.
Card's pretty good.
This card's broken.
Yeah.
It's really good.
I had brought up a new level 2 Xander when we did our regionals.
Yeah.
And I said, hey, it'd be cool if level 2 Xander just gave you 2 prep counters or something.
Right.
And everyone in the room looked at me and said I was insane and that would be too broken.
Maybe it is. This card seems absurd.
But this card does that, and it has another effect.
And it's got a regrowth stapled on it. It's pretty good.
I don't know, man.
It's you compare it to all of our level 2s, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where the most powerful level 2 probably ever is Lorraine, right? Because she draws a card, and sometimes she draws more than one card. But that requires them to have a thing on board, for you to be able to kill the thing, for you to expend a resource to do the thing. So Xander, just every time he comes into play, he pays for his own ability. He leaves you with a prep counter behind, even if you didn't have any on him already. And he gets you a card back. It's like nuts. Like super good.
Yeah.
Like probably up there, top 2 or 3 level 2s in the game.
Yeah.
Which is great. Congratulations to all you suffering Xander players. Immediately after this got posted, like shit you not, 15 seconds, I get a message from a mystery man you know quite well, who says, this is a guaranteed turn 3 kill. So, you know, that's what Xander's looking like, everybody, you know. Those Fire Xander players are real excited to be getting a card for free. Yeah, Mr. Mystery Man. Yeah, so looking real good for the aggressive Xander decks, looking real good for the non-aggressive Xander decks. If you're putting Xander in your deck, you're looking good.
Still not looking good for Luxem, though.
Hey, man, you know, Luxem has a card advantage problem, and this gets you a card back, which is, like, huge, right? Like, if you're powering to level 3, like Luxem Xander, you were a +1 card than you were before, you know?
Yeah, that's fair.
It's huge. So, yeah, we got the new Xander on the Proxy's Vault, and then... I don't know, Steven, we also got the new Viridian Trinket.
Yeah.
It's fixed. It has new art. They're going to be handing it out it says Nationals and Regionals, ? Which is kind of wild.
Version of Viridian Protective Trinket will be available as Ascent Ontario as well as Regionals.
Oh, sure. So, Ascent Ontario and Regionals.
Yeah.
So, they're gonna send me some of these Viridian Trinkets. I get to hand them out like little, you know.
Some cards got removed off the watch list, Tactful Sergeant and Displace.
Yeah, so Steve, how do you feel about, because I have some feelings, but I want to throw it to you. How do you feel about our category changes for this BNR?
There's a card on here that I think is missing. Other than that, nothing really changed.
What card's missing?
I think Poison Dagger should be on this on category 1.
Yeah. I agree. I think that deck's pretty underrepresented. But yeah. I think we're both in agreement that Poison Dagger is a little bit too good.
I just like the turn you pop it, you're probably getting an additional 5 to 10 damage off of it, which seems absurd.
Yeah,
which is why the Fire Xander deck turn 3s you. Right?
Yeah, it just gets you back 5 damage if you go to level 2, which is great, right? I become level 2. I get an extra prep, which is huge for that deck. Yeah. You get back whatever your favorite 1 for 5 is.
Right. Explosives.
Blazing throws or whatever. But yeah, it turns on your planted explosives, your ignited stabs, which is a problem they had before. The thing that I am most surprised about, and I think a lot of people out on the internet are surprised as well, is that Crystal of Empowerment is still here.
Yeah.
You can still legally register Crystal of Empowerment.
Yeah, I guess that also is a problem.
Which I find a little strange. I understand where Weeb's coming from, right? Today is the launch of the new format, and not only that, they're also introducing a new Proxy's Vault champion today. So it's big, sweeping changes for GA as a whole, right? So it's like not exactly the most optimal time to be introducing new changes to the ban list because the format's going to change so widely anyways. If you ban Crystal today, it's hard to see if it is the new set impacting that, if it's the new Xander impacting that, or if the Crystal ban is impacting that, right? However, that card is super not okay. But I have been testing exclusively without it in any of my Arisana decks, and I'm going to stop doing that, and I'm going to put it into all of my Arisana decks because the card is broken. I don't know why you wouldn't play it in basically everything.
Correct.
I guess exactly Fire Xander probably doesn't want to play it. So I found that a little strange. Other than that, I think that the ban list is totally fine. I understand them removing Displace, and especially Tactful Sergeant. That card just doesn't do anything. I don't know why it was on the list in the first place.
I think a lot of like the Wind Allies decks back in the day were playing it.
Yeah.
Back in the day, like last year. But they were playing it a lot. Like it was like a staple.
Card advantage is good, for sure.
You attack with the rain and then you boop,
But like, you know, I'm not
nowadays. It got cut from the list a long time ago.
So like a 4-mana on play, a slow draw card, like that can't be broken.
Yeah.
Dream Fairy got put on the list, which is real.
Yeah.
I was super confused why Displace was on the list and not Dream Fairy, because Displace was only oppressive because it was flickering Dream Fairies.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that they've swapped that. That, you know, Displace is like a totally reasonable card if it's not targeting something absurd like a Dream Fairy.
Hey, and you know, in my totally not copium Vanitas deck, Displace is pretty good.
Yeah. I mean, I think Displace is fine when it like is maybe a fog, right? It like rests one of your dudes, or like you flicker your Tactful Sergeant, you draw a card. Whoa, that's crazy. But flickering Dream Fairies feels absurd because we have so few like actual removal spells that Displace on a Dream Fairy is just Doomblade, which is pretty good. So all in all, good. I'm super excited for the Xander players. That doesn't affect me, other than they will be killing me more regularly. But he was just in such a bad way that not even like Xander's class or his deck, just like Xander level 2 was in a bad way.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that at the very least, we'll see how much it affects the meta.
I think just really like the originals level 2 just didn't fit the identity. It didn't feel like.
Yeah, they talked a little bit about it in the BNR, like what their initial design plan was, but I can understand that it didn't quite get there. They wanted it to be like an extra payoff for 1,000 refractions, which I find super interesting. That was like, I mean, obviously it was designed as like a finishing card for Xander, but it's like pretty bad. It's okay with the new other Proxy's Vault card, I guess.
No, it isn't. We tried it.
It's like better than it was.
Oh boy.
All right, so
with that, we're moving on to Nationals.
Yeah, we have some big announcements for Nationals 2024. So they've reaffirmed all of the dates for Nationals. We've known those for a while. For us in North America, it's going to be March 3rd through 4th, or 2nd through 3rd, one of those, that weekend.
It
in
is
glorious
the 2nd
Houston.
through 3rd. Yeah, glorious Houston.
But the most important part about this Nationals announcement, so we're not going to spend a whole lot of time. It's mostly just like, remember, these are the invite cards. Here are what they look like when they're traded in, et cetera, et cetera. But they snuck a like really cool announcement in there for North American Nats that on day 2 of North American Nationals this year, there will be an open regional event for everybody who is not in day 2 of Nationals. So if you did not make top 32 of Nationals, you get to play in this open regional, which is really cool.
Yeah.
We've been sort of it feels a little bad traveling. We have a pretty far trip down to Houston for Nats, and a sense there's so much of a like an event, right, where we get to hang out with the community, and there's side events and exciting things to do other than the tournament itself. So it feels so much more like a trip, right? But Nationals is such a much more serious, smaller field. We're going for the tournament, and so at least in my head, feel really bad, flying all the way down to Houston just for me to inevitably 0-3 the tournament and just have to like sit around in Texas for a few days. So I'm super thrilled that they're giving something for the losers like me to do on the second day of Nationals.
Yeah, I think it's super cool, and it's also like I don't know. I won't be participating in the regionals because I'm surely day 2ing with my spicy brews. So
I'm sorry. Do you need me to get the clip out with your spicy brews, Steven? Do we remember our New Year's resolutions?
That's what I'm saying. I'm gonna play meta decks.
Oh, I see.
So it's spicy meta deck.
Oh,
It's not. I'm not playing copium. I'm not playing Whimdy Punch.
You guys saw that. He said spicy brew, and I'm watching him.
You've seen the deck that I'm playing right now.
Yeah, all right.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, okay.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, all right. That's pretty good. But yeah, super exciting. We can't wait to be there. If you guys are going to Nationals, hit us up. We'll be there. Maybe wearing shirts. I don't know. We'll hopefully be identifiable.
Yeah, we'll definitely be identifiable. I'm working on it.
Hopefully we'll be identifiable.
I'm working on it.
and come say hang out, say hello, hang out.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm bringing the podcast set up. I'm really undecided on that. I don't know if we're gonna have time. It's much of a
I because I don't think we're staying any extra days.
Yeah, it's somebody else's store too, which feels a little strange.
Right. So I think
probably not. We're probably traveling pretty light. So we'll just be hanging out with you people, doing the the nationals and scrubbing out.
Right.
Hoping to day 2 get those beautiful Ascension promos that I'll never cast ever again in my life.
Yeah. And, don't say that.
If they make a Crux Cleric, I
was
guess
gonna
I'll
say
play
Crux
it, right?
Cleric, right? You're probably playing it.
Yeah. I'm there. Dude, I've been having a real tough time. We've opened a bunch of product. It's a great time to tell the people. So, here on the internet, I can say, so it's immortalized forever, that I'm eternally indebted to Steven for choosing the cases that I opened for ALC for myself. We have a good friend that drove up to pick up some cases, and I put some cases with his name on it. I was like, all right, these are, I'm going to give these to that friend of ours. And then,
sorry, Chris.
And then Steve was like, well, those are the ones that have the Arisana CSR in them. And I was like, oh, yeah, Steve? Okay, fine. And I took those, and I put, another 3 cases aside for Chris. And then, lo and behold, I can't get close to the camera without my back exploding. But we did open the girl, so we are internally
I wish I had the CSR
indebted to Steve.
Ability, but...
You do. You nailed it.
And not for me.
That's always the way it works, Like you can never choose for yourself. It's always for somebody else.
Yeah.
But oh man,
boy.
I've got the girl. I'm so happy.
Yeah,
should have seen me yesterday. I was
I had gone home and he
freaking
called me and
Yeah.
was FaceTiming me. He was
my
like, "I
hands
got
were
it."
shaking.
Yeah, it was cute. It was
I'm
very cute.
so excited. But what I was gonna say is, while opening all these ALC cards, dude, the Umbra cards are so cool. I love that aesthetic so much.
So I put when I was opening my SRs and URs and stuff, I was putting them in dual mats.
Yeah, with the black
With the black they're real sharp in those.
Yeah, Umbra looks good, man.
I might start playing Umbra just to look at the cards.
Yeah. Me and Trent were talking about a spicy brew, so we'll let you in on the secret.
Okay.
But give me an Umbra, character that's not a ranger, because I just don't really vibe with the ranger thing. But
some of those cards are cleric.
God,
some of those cards are cleric.
What's her name? Gloamspire Wraith, one that's in the red dress. Ooh,
Yeah.
woo.
I'm just saying, some of the curses have cleric on it.
I know.
So, Umbra
true.
cleric would be super
would be
sick.
pretty cool. We will see as time goes on. But in other newsy news, we have Omnidex to talk about, as we mentioned at the top of the show. So Omnidex is finally out. It's something they've been talking about for a year and a half now. All of the organized play is going to be run on Omnidex. There's a whole points system, and so I wanted to talk a little bit about that today, because it's been quite a hot topic with the community, how they feel about how things are laid out, the rewards, et cetera, et cetera. So I wanted to give the people our thoughts on Omnidex, but I think the best way to do that is to explain a little bit about how it works. So on Omnidex, our new organized play system for Grand Archive, you have a ranking number, which is CP or champion points, is your aggregate rank number, and that's built up of a few different things. It's built up of veterancy points, which you get veterancy points anytime you play a match of Grand Archive in any sanctioned event on Omnidex. You get an amount of VP. The more matches that you play, the less points you get. I think it starts off, you get 5 per match, and then as you play a bunch of matches, it gets down to you're only getting 1 point a match or whatever. But every time you play, you get a veterancy point, and that is a number that never resets. It just goes on forever. So as you play Grand Archive, you'll get more veterancy points. This is sort of like XP for other games that have done that.
Yeah.
Flush Mud did that, or does that. Magic did it for a long time in the form of Planeswalker points. So this is not, reinventing the wheel or anything. There's also ELO, which uses the chess ELO system, tweaked a little bit, but very similar, where you have an ELO number. When you play against people in sanctioned events, you either gain ELO or lose ELO, depending on if you win or lose, and depending on what their ELO is. If their ELO is super far below you and you lose a bunch of points, etc. And unlike Veterancy, only 33% of your ELO contributes to your CP number, which I find pretty interesting. And also important that, I'm sure we'll touch on today is you get a different multiplier to your ELO depending on what type of event that you're playing in. So locals are worth a lot less than something like a regionals or an ascent. Then last but not least, you have event points, which is a score based on your top 5 events that you've played this season. And those scale, you get more points depending on how much or how many people are at the event. So if you top 8 an ascent, which is like a 300-person event, you're going to get a whole bunch more event points than if you top 8 your 8-man locals.
Right.
And so you add all those points together, and they give you a champion point score. And then at the end of the season, there are several rewards for champion points. Fancy cards.
Yeah.
There's a sweet CPR Scry the Skies in there.
It looks very nice.
It's very cool. So that's all of my talking and explaining. Steve, how do you feel?
I think it's great. I think the system seems good because it rewards players for just like playing the game. You don't have to be the best to get points. You just play a bunch of games.
Right. I agree. Asterisk.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
I agree. Asterisk. We're here live. Podcast is live. So I get to cancel myself.
Okay.
By having opinions on the internet.
Okay.
I think Omnidex is terrific. I am super excited, and I'm thinking about all of the, applications that it has and the sort of push that it gives to competitive players. There's a couple of issues that I have with Omnidex. The first of all is the theoretical effect that it has on locals. Granted, some of my worries have been sort of quelled in that regard, where what I worried about initially is we have some casual players that play at our locals. We're always trying to build our scene, so we're always trying to get more people to try the game, right? So when we have new people trying the game, I encourage all of our very competitive players. We have some very talented players to play in our area to, take it easy. Don't scare people off too bad, to put the Ascensions away for a little bit, But with the advent of Omnidex and with our player base, having so many competitive players in it, those competitive players are heavily incentivized to win all of their games. Thankfully, like I said earlier, the multiplier for your ELO for locals is much lower. I believe it is 0.2 is what your ELO gains are multiplied by, right? So if you would gain 20 ELO, you gain 4 instead if it's at locals, right? That said, still kind of a big deal.
Yeah.
Still kind of worth playing. I believe the way that it works is if the gap between you and your opponent is so vast, like if you have much, much higher ELO than they do, your ELO won't change at all, which again is good. It, incentivizes you to not to beat the casuals to death.
Right.
But I do find that a little bit worrisome. The other thing that has sort of come up this week that I think I might be in the minority of, but we have a show on the internet, so I get to share my opinions, and you all have to listen to it. With the advent of ELO and veterancy, I worry about online events. I have personally never been a huge fan of online events. I understand why they exist. I know that not everybody is as blessed as we are. So we count our lucky stars. I understand that not everybody that wants to play GA has a local game store that they can go to, especially for a smaller game like this that is running Grand Archive. And so I don't want to, alienate any of those people or say that, that they shouldn't be able to play the game. The thing that I worry about is I've seen some rumblings going around that people are going to start running more online events. Even I saw a post about like on-demand online events being run, with Omnidex, and it's sort of, I think, with veterancy being a thing that never expires, right? So the more games that you play, you just get more points. I worry about the competitive scene abusing the fact that you can use online events to gain points like this, where like if you, are really trying to hit top 100, because there are some real rewards for being in the top 100. We'll talk about nationals invites in a little bit. So there's real rewards for having a very high number on Omnidex, right? If there's nothing stopping people that have the ability to just grind on-demand Omnidex events all day, every day, and they're just getting, 20 veterancy every day because they're playing 20, webcam games or whatever, I think that sort of hurts the integrity of the system.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense to me.
I don't think that that's like a nightmare scenario. I assume if there's any sort of if things are going too far, that Weebs will, rein that in. And maybe I'm even wrong. Maybe that's not even how it works. Maybe right. I misread something on the internet. But I do worry a little bit about that. Like me personally, I feel like I'm missing out as a competitive player where I play at my locals, but like Yeti runs a great online event every week, and those are fantastic people. But I work that day, and I can't play in Yeti locals, and so as a competitive player, I feel like I am doing myself a disservice because everybody else has the the access to play in this webcam game. Where in a world where it's only at your LGS that you're getting these points, you assume that everybody is probably playing in their one local a week. And it is rare that people get to, go to 3 or 4 locals in a week.
Right.
So everybody's on sort of an even playing ground or a playing field. So I feel a little strange about that one.
The whole aspect of an online tournament or something netting you competitive points does kind of scare me. Because like you said, I don't. I have time for Grand Archive once a day, most weeks.
Right.
And that's usually the day we film the podcast. I'm already in the store, so I don't go home after we film the episode or whatever. So the thought that if I'm just missing out because on Wednesdays or whatever I'm busy, right? It just kind of sucks.
Yeah, it's an odd one for sure.
Just infinite grinding, if it's on demand, what's stopping people from just rigging the online event, right?
Yeah, I mean, I love our community, and I don't think anybody's going to be,
I'm not saying, I'm not accusing her or anything like that, but I'm saying that is an actual concern that you have to think about.
Yeah, online events are scary. There's a lot less control, from the tournament organizer. It's a lot easier for things to not happen the way that they should, and people are playing all day every day if they're grinding these veterancy points. I'm not sure. I think we'll see how it shakes out. I think everybody is a little bit on edge because the nationals qualifiers for 2025 next year are changing pretty drastically from what we have this year. So this year, for everybody who is going to nationals, you just need to have won a store championship event or topped a regional event to receive an invite card. You bring that invite card to wherever the nationals is that you're going to. You hand them the card. They say, "Welcome to the tournament." End of story. They've changed the way that works. I think for the better. They have made it so that depending on your region, you need a certain amount of qualifier points. And the cards that you receive at stuff like store championships and regionals are worth an amount of qualifier points. And also, your rank on Omnidex will contribute an amount of qualifier points as well. So the way that it works, at least for us, which is what we're taking a look at, but feel free to go on Omnidex. If you actually go on Omnidex and you click on the 3 bars, there's a button at the bottom that says View Season Guide, and that's where all this information is if you guys want to check it out. But for Nationals 2025, the North American qualifiers are 12 Nationals qualifier points is how many that you need. And for a rough idea of what that means, a store championship invite card is worth 2 qualifier points. A regional invite card is worth 3 qualifier points. And then I believe you can get at maximum 6 qualifier points from Omnidex. So assuming that you're a high enough rank, in Omnidex, you get your 6 points. It means that you have to, either top 2 regional events, win 3 store championship events, or, some combination of both, which is a lot. You do get the whole year. It's 3 whole seasons, right? Which is a little bit different from other games. So you have several seasons of events to compete in. So like us at the store, a lot of us that have been playing since DOA would be qualified under these metrics, right? I always point to Trenton. I call him Trenton all the time, and it's just Trenton has 4 invitational cards.
Yeah.
Right. So like he is very easily, I'm sure, would be qualified. So it's not an unsurmountable goal if you play the game pretty seriously. But I think it is going to cut the nationals pool significantly. I think it's going to be a much smaller event, and a little bit more, prestigious to attend. But that is, I think, what has people worried, and I'm with them in that regard. That if it is harder to qualify for these tournaments, and it means that tournaments and events mean more, it means I'm more worried about, how many events those are, what people's access to them is, et cetera, et cetera.
Right.
But I do think this is a great change for the game as a whole. Something that we saw in FTC is that all of the regionals across the board, in North America at least, were smaller attendance than they were for DOA.
Right.
And I think that's because our community is so small that a lot of the competitive players that played in the DOA season already had an invite.
Right.
So like if your regional is not close, right? Like ours was in Massachusetts. If you're in like New York even, and it's like a 3-hour drive and you already have an invitation, you don't have to come to regionals.
Right.
Why bother? You can't take the time off, PTO at work, whatever. But now everyone will be encouraged to play in everything, which is good. So I think attendance as a whole will be up, especially as the game is growing. I think it's terrific. But
yeah, no, that
hard.
tracks to me, right?
Hard to get into the tournament.
Yeah.
We might not be at nationals next year,
Yeah.
It's like possible that we don't get enough points. Which, I think is fine. I don't think, it's for everybody. Like if we don't get enough points, we didn't get enough points. That means we don't deserve to be there, right? I guess you can always whale your way still, right? You can buy invitational cards.
Fair.
You just now have to buy a lot of them. You'd be like, yeah, I play Grand Archive like, once every 6 months, but I really wanted to go to nationals, so I bought 6 invitation cards. I just spent like a casual $3,000 to get invited to nationals. It's like, more power to you. Godspeed, you know?
I will not be doing that.
Money is a superpower.
If I don't qualify, I don't qualify,
Right.
and that's okay.
So yeah, it's a lot of really big changes, and I think a great ALC is such a perfect time to jump into the game, and I'm really hopeful that this set will be the birth of a new generation of Grand Archive players that will be jumping into the game, and so it's great that all of these competitive systems are coming into play right when ALC launches.
Right.
And I know that's been huge for a lot of other games, like Paramount. Why I even started playing Flesh and Blood is because they made a huge organized play announcement like a week after Magic killed theirs. Like Magic was like, see you later, organized play, we don't care about you. And then like a week later I saw this post on Twitter that was like, here's how much money we are paying in competitive play for Flesh and Blood. And I hope that Grand Archive gets that same boost with all of these competitive announcements, and look at this cool ranking system, and player rewards are so fucking cool, dude.
Yeah.
Like, you just play the game, and at the end of the season, they just ship you stuff. Like, even like it's not there's really cool stuff if you're like top 100, top to 1500 or whatever. But like even if you play like regularly, casually, there's rewards like, in several tiers. So like if you're just like a casual GA player, at the end of the season you're probably getting shipped something by the company, which is awesome.
Yeah. It really incentivizes you to like
just show up to locals,
right?
Like show up to locals, show up to all of your local events, and get that number up. I'm a big number go up fan,
Yeah, number go up.
Just want to see number go up.
More number, more big, right?
So it's great. I've been talking a lot, Steve. How do you feel? Tell me how you feel.
I mean, you're saying everything that I'm feeling about the system, right? Like just like reinvigorate old players to want to play more, introduce new players into the community for them to play more. just seems like a whole a positive thing all around.
It is really cool. I've been waiting for Omnidex for a long time, because I think it's pretty innovative for the scene, which is crazy. Like Magic did player rewards 15 years ago. God, more than that.
Yeah, but I feel like the Magic rewards were a lot worse. Like you had to do a lot more,
right?
Play a lot more.
It was a lot more like abstract, is what it felt like. You know,
it felt more aimed at the players who are already winning everything,
right?
Which feels real bad. But whereas this, like, there's a little bit of something for everyone, and I think that's a breath of fresh air for like a card game competitive scene.
I really like how gamified it is, you know.
Yeah.
Obviously, the Grand Archive team are a bunch of degenerate League of Legends players, and it does mirror that sort of system, you know. And so I'm very excited. I like a gamified, you know, ranking system.
Of course you do.
Number go up is good, you know. Give me that LP or whatever. TYLP is what I'll be saying at, you know, locals every match, you know.
And then
booting him out of the store. You know?
Cam is getting the singular point because he's not going to win.
I like veterancy a lot. I think that is really cool. Even though I will like assumingly be a bronze player because I suck. I like
Wood 5, baby.
I'm Styrofoam League. I really like the idea of veterancy never resetting.
Yeah.
So you can just be like, yeah, I suck, but I play GA a lot. And like, here's my veterancy. It's like, I have, you know, 5,000 matches played or whatever. And then you're like a bronze loser. You know? We
very much league style. I have 10,000 games played, but I'm still bronze 5.
One of our favorite things, here's the non sequitur, the League of Legends non sequitur that everybody wants on the podcast, is we play with a friend of ours, and we like only play normals. We like never play ranked because we suck. But we play with a friend of ours who is an Urgot one trick, and he has 2 million mastery on Urgot, which for anyone who doesn't play League of Legends, that is a shit ton. It is like a extremely large number. And so anytime that we play in normals, they like check his mastery, because that's what people do in League all the time. When like you're on the loading screen, it'll show you their mastery. And it's like 30 seconds into every game, they start flaming him for like playing his main in normals with too much mastery or whatever. And that's what I want in GA. I want them to be like, why have you played so many games yet you lose every game you play?
I wish, like in League, it was champion mastery.
Yeah, that would be super
like,
cool.
You've played 5,000 games as Arisana.
All right, they're listening. That is actually a great idea.
I hope.
Can we get... That's something that some other games do. We here at the store, we run a local game store, Webway Games, Marlborough, Massachusetts. Find us. Just for you on the internet, and eventually when this goes up as a video, I hear the word on the street is that someone is running a regionals for ALC season on April 20th of this year, is what I've heard. And I've heard that they may or may not be at Webway Games, Marlborough, Massachusetts, 496C, Boston Post Road East. Whoa. There's your scoop. But what was I saying?
I don't know.
we play we play a lot of Warhammer here at the store, and something that one of the tournament circuits does for Warhammer is at the end of the season, they give awards to every person that has the most of their like elo system, has the most points in their system for each faction, which is really cool. So like even if you suck, but you play like a terrible faction, and you like perform okay, at the end of the season you get, you know, the best in faction for your, you know, I don't know, striking scorpions or whatever the fuck it is that you play. And I think that would be really, really cool for Grand Archive if, you know, you could get class mastery or something.
Yeah.
Class veterancy.
Right.
It'd be very
It's
cool.
like maybe not directly towards a champion.
Champion's a little tough. I think
like,
class mastery would be really cool.
Yeah, that'd be very cool.
Yeah. It's a little bit hard to quantify because you could like play multiple in your deck, but I think that would be super neat.
Yeah. Maybe you just like when you build your deck or whatever.
Hey, you like click on the thing.
You click on the thing and say,
I play cleric.
I'm a cleric deck.
Yeah. So I think the last thing that we have to talk about before we wrap up today is there's new event packs too. which they announced on Omnidex, which is super cool.
Yeah.
That at all of your large marquee events, I don't know if it says on the sheet itself exactly what. Yeah, it doesn't. Sapphire event packs are now available at regional events, is what it says. So I assume that will also be like Ascents and Nationals and stuff. But Sapphire packs are a new event pack, and they are a way to get the foils of the starter deck exclusive cards from ALC, which is cool. So that's like
That's very cool.
Some of the equipment. It's like Archon Broadsword and Shadow's Twin, Cosmic Asterscope. I know that Ari's is Cosmic Bolt, but I think each of the other decks have one card that is not in the booster set as well. So that's super cool. Those will be available at regionals and at hopefully bigger events like Ascents and Nationals. So another reason to show up to your big seasonal events, which I think is great. Everything that this stupid company does is great, and it's hard to say negative things when everything they do I like.
Yeah. I don't know.
But I'm a simp. So,
yeah.
I don't know what to tell you.
I've slowly come around to the fact that I think this is the best card game I've ever played.
I know they've got good heads on their shoulders over there. They know what they're doing. So they're making the right decisions. So
the only complaint I have is I can't play it enough.
That's true. But Omnidex, they're doing something right because I'm churning. I'm like, man. Omnidex, huh? Does that mean we start running GA twice a week? Is immediately what I thought. It was like, is there another day on the schedule that I could fit another GA event that people will come to? Because gotta be grinding now, dude.
Can we just have an early GA on Fridays and a late GA on Fridays so I can go home?
Yeah.
10 o'clock is late. I'm an old man.
You don't work tomorrow.
I know.
I don't want to hear shit, Steven.
I like my bed.
Yeah, well, me too. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I think that's all we have for the show this week live. You're seeing it when it's being recorded.
Whoa, it's wild.
Whoa, so
it's actual good content too.
If you guys are watching this show not live, every Friday, unless we say otherwise, I guess. Every Friday at noon EST, we will be here streaming the show. You can come and hang out. We have some lovely people in chat. We're going to stick around for a little bit and talk to them, shoot the shit, as it were. But thank you guys for watching. We will see you next week.
Have a good one, guys.